Thank you. First, I'll pick up a little bit on the last part, because it's one of the most interesting charts, when we had those who buy into fake news are also the ones that are most likely target of using fake drugs as well. So, and I don't think it's a lack of information that makes people being skeptic to vaccines, because the information that's there, I think there's an abundance of documentation and information that should make you trust medicines and vaccines. And there were some charts and some discussion on which channels we can use, because I think it's about connecting with those that are skeptic, not providing more information, but actually connecting, understanding them, and find out how can we persuade a person that's skeptic to believe what we see, believe the facts we have. So it's not the lack of facts or the documentation. It's somehow how can we connect, and that would be, I think, a big benefit, because it will then drive you in, if that chart is true, lower down on the skeptic line and into the greener zone, which would be good. I have a question also, if you can answer that for me later, because you had OTC and RX on one of the slides, and whether you saw any difference in the propensity to use fake OTC versus fake RX, if there was any difference, because if you have a prescriptive drugs, you have been to a doctor, you have got a prescription, does that change your attitude towards the medicines that you're buying? So if that has an impact on the propensity to use fake drugs, if you can answer that later, it'd be interesting. I think also in Europe we have the serialization system in place. All medicines, all RX are serialized, and that was not in your brief, where the patients understood that serialized medicines are safer. So that would also be interesting to see whether that has an impact on their understanding. I work with EMBO, I work on the European level. This is a Romanian study. What I can believe is probably can be transferred to a European level is also that particular chart. That was really interesting, because you have vaccine skeptics, so you have skeptics all over Europe. And if that chart is true, then you would probably have the same attitude towards fake medicines all over Europe. Maybe. And that's a bit scary, isn't it? Yeah. My takeaway from the study was, I'm surprised that 10% would actually accept to use falsified medicines. I hope there's a big difference when they go to a pharmacy where you have professionals. I think the pharmacies that meet the patients every day is key to keeping fake medicines away, and also educating people. And I think the pharmacies should be proud that they're part of a system, the serialization system, that they're actually checking every single pack before it goes out to a patient. I think that it's under-communicated from the pharmacy side that they're part of that system, and that they have a system in place that ensures all medicines are genuine. And Laurenti, I forgot your question.
We had our long discussions earlier. It seems, well, you are an optimistic for a fact. But you seem to think that our system, which is working well behind the pharmacy counter, should be public in order for the general public to know about us. As long as it's working, I'm not sure about that. Do you really think that it will be a good thing for everybody, for the public to know more about our system working, like I said, behind the counter? What will be the benefit of that?
I think one of the benefits of having a serialization system in the pharmacies is that it makes that particular part of the pharmaceutical supply chain very safe. A lot of the falsified medicines, or mostly all of the falsified medicines, reach the patients through unauthorized sales channels. So if you go to a pharmacy, the medicines have been checked. They're checked at the end point before they leave into the patient. I think the patient should be aware of that. And it makes the supply chain safe and reliable versus buying, we know, online, where there's a much higher risk of buying falsified medicines. And there is not part of a serialization check, unless it's a verified online pharmacy.
I see, thank you. Professor Voiko, you want to?
Well, actually, I will follow up a little bit on that. Actually, on your question, because I fully disagree with you. I think it should be public. One of the ways in which you are increasing trust in institutions is to increase familiarity of the public with that institution, which means that if you make public the mechanism behind sterilization and people do understand it, they will start having a little bit more confidence in the process, and they believe that the authorities are doing something for them. From this point of view, you have a clear benefit. And then I go back to your initial question. You said something about the exposure to buying with prescription or not. We don't know exactly if they did it so. We know if they were in contact with buying medicines. We suppose that it was by prescription, and we noticed that the contact, it's actually decreasing the probability to use willingly, voluntarily, fake medicines. And we also know that if they are buying, if they are in contact with medicines, they know more about them, and they are able to discriminate, to identify easier between authentic ones and fake ones, which probably means that if you have a prescription, you are in a better position and less exposed than not being there. What we use there within the analysis, it was both the contact, but also what happened in the area, knowing that in the areas, in the counties actually, where they are selling more prescription medicines as contrasted to the population size, that means per population, you have a lower propensity towards using fake medicines. And in the areas where you are selling actually more food supplements, you have a higher propensity of those saying that they will use fake medicines. But actually, your question, if they had the prescription, we didn't have it as such, and this is one of the limitations in the study. We didn't thought about it. We replaced it only with the contacts with buying medicines. I hope I answered.
Stop here, because if you
I
say
can
some
continue.
other wrong
I can continue.
things about the study, people
It's
will,
not wrong.
will
It's not wrong.
think.
This is not wrong. It's a limitation. We acknowledge it.
Well, Kai, you said that it's a Romanian study. It is, but it's a face-to-face study, 1,200 subjects. It's representative at the national level. And, well, from what we checked, is the only one available. We are already submitted a more scientific paper based on the study to a medical journal. So as long as it's the only one available, it can be seen as a representative also at the European level, probably even in the northern countries. I don't know. I'm not sure about that.